Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture series on computer architecture and organization. This is our 7th lecture. In this lecture we are going to discuss about the instruction set of the computers. So the words of a language which we are calling as instructions. So what is instruction? The words of a computer language are called the instructions, and the group of words which we are having in a place like dictionary, it is called vocabulary. We may say it is vocabulary, and this vocabulary of commands that is understood by a given architecture is called the instruction set. So in this course what we are going to see is that the instruction set of a real computer that may be both in the form of the human language and in the form that is read by the computer. So we have been introduced in this course in this instruction in a top down fashion. So we redefine this by step until we see the real language of the real computer. Okay, so the languages of computers would be as diverse as those of people, but reality computer languages are quite similar, more like regional dialects than like independent languages. It is not independent language, more or less the computer instruction set will be the similar for computers. So say for what they are saying is that it is like the regional dialects rather than the independent languages. So regional dialects in the sense, in the southern part Tamil may be spoken in different slang, and in the northern part the same Tamil is being spoken by in different slang. So the slangs are different, so depending upon but the language is the same. Similarly the language is the same, but some difference occurs in this instruction set between the architecture. So to demonstrate how easy it is to pick up with other instruction set, there are some other popular instruction set which is similar to that of the MIPS. One is that ARM v7. So ARM v7, how can we write as that? It's being written as ARM v7. Okay, so this ARM v7 is similar to MIPS. So MIPS is nothing but this is not million instructions per second. It is microprocessor without interlocked pipeline stages. Okay, so this is similar to MIPS. This ARM v7 is similar to MIPS. More than 9 billion chips with ARM processors were manufactured in 2011, making it the most popular instruction set in the world. And the second example is Intel x86. So Intel x86, it powers both the PC as well as the cloud of the post PC era. And the third example is that it is ARM v8. Okay, so ARM v8, which extends the address size of the ARM v7 from 32 bits to 64 bits. So we shall see this 2013 instruction set is very closer to MIPS than it is to ARM v7. Okay. The similarity of this instruction set always occurs because the computers are often designed with a common underlying principle that designs the hardware technologies. Okay, and the second thing is that the computers will employ only few basic arithmetic operations or mathematical operations. So these two factors makes the instruction set more or less similar between different computers. Moreover, the computer designers will have a common goal, that is they must choose a language which from this language which we can design with the help of the language we can design a very simple hardware and compiler besides maximizing performance and minimizing the cost and energy. So the goal is always time honored. Okay, the simplicity of that equipment is as valuable as consideration for today's computer. The goal of this chapter is to teach the instruction set that follows this advice, showing both how it is represented in hardware and the relationship between the high level programming languages, and this is the more primitive one. So we are going in a top down approach, and later in the last part of the instructions we will see about the stored program concepts. So what is the idea behind the stored program concept is that the instructions and data of many types can be stored in the memory as numbers, leading to the stored program computer. Okay, so if you see this instruction, if you see the slide, instructions are nothing but instructions is nothing but the language of the machine or the language that is understood by the machine, more primitive than the high level languages, example no sophisticated control flows such as while or for loops, and it is very restrictive, example MIPS arithmetic instructions. Later we will see how it is very restrictive, and we will be working with the MIPS instruction set architecture. So this is the most inspired architecture and it is used by many companies. So as we have seen, this name is not related to millions of instructions per second. It stands for microprocessor without interlocked pipeline stages. Okay. So what is the design goal? It needs to maximize the performance as well as it needs to minimize the cost and to reduce the design time. Next. So MIPS arithmetic. So MIPS arithmetic, we have already seen that this MIPS is very restrictive. How it is very restrictive in the sense, all MIPS arithmetic instruction have only 3 operands, okay, and that too the operated or that operand order is very fixed. Say for example, we need to write the destination first. The instruction will have the destination register first. So we are writing a C code, A is equal to B plus C, okay. What does this mean is that we need to add the data which is in B or the variable B, and we need to add the variable C, and we need to put the sum in A, okay. So the job of this compiler is to associate the variables with the register. What this compiler does is that it converts a high level language into MIPS code, okay. So what is MIPS code in the sense, this MIPS code assigns registers to each variable. So $S2 register is assigned to C, and $S1 register is assigned to B, and $S0 is assigned to A. So this notation, that is dollar following by a variable S with a number, is the representation that is followed by the MIPS in order to represent a register, okay. If we want to represent a register in MIPS, then that register should be notated like this, okay. What is this? It is followed with it is always starts with a dollar symbol followed by an alphabet, that is S, and a number 2. So this is the basic notation in order to represent the register in MIPS, okay. So the variable is represented like this inside this MIPS. So if you say this MIPS code, the instruction, the operation performed is add. So it is add. What is the destination register? The destination register is $S0, and we need to add the contents of $S1 register and $S2 register, and the sum is placed in $S0 register. So what this MIPS arithmetic says? The design principle 1 is that simplicity favors regularity. If it is very simple, then we will follow it regularly. If it is very complicated, we will not see it or we will not touch it. So what they have said is that for MIPS arithmetic, always it has only 3 operands. Also, the simpler hardware reduces design time and manufacturing cost, okay. Of course, this complicates some things. Allowing the variable number of operands would simplify the assembly code but complicate the hardware. So see this example in C code. We are having a variable A. This variable A holds, the sum of B plus C plus D, and the variable A holds the difference of F minus A, okay. So what this MIPS code, so in between the C code and MIPS code there is a compiler, right. So what this compiler does is that it converts the C code to MIPS code, okay. So the job of the compiler is to assign the registers to each variable. So it assigns registers to each and every variable. So B is allotted to a register which is S1, okay. S1. So the register name should be followed by a dollar symbol, and C is allocated to a register $S2, and D is allocated to a register $S3. Similarly, F is allocated to a register S5, okay, and this A is allotted a temporary register which is called as $T0, and this E, that is the destination, that has been allocated a register S4, okay. So $S4. So likewise, the MIPS code allocate the registers to each and every variable. But the complication, what is the complication here is that the MIPS allows only 3 operands, that is 2 registers and 1 destination register, 2 source registers and another one is the destination register. So in the first code, if you see this in the first part of the MIPS code, so the MIPS code says we need to add the contents of B plus C plus D and we need to put it in A. So what it does is that it adds the contents of B and C, that is the B which is in $S1 register and C which is in $S2 register, and the sum is put in a temporary register $T0. Again we need to add this D with this 2. So D has been allocated the register $S3. So $S3 and $T0, which includes the sum of B and C, that is $S1 and $T2. So we need to add this and put it in the destination register, that is $S0, which is allocated for A. And the next step is that we need to perform the operation. The second line of the C code is subtraction. So E holds the difference of F and A, so it is subtraction. So subtract, what we need to subtract, B plus C plus D, that is which is equal to A. What is A? A is allocated with a register which is called as $S0. So we need to subtract the conduct of $S0 from $S5. $S5 holds F, the variable F, okay. $S5 holds the variable F. So $S0, which is nothing but the sum of B, C and D variable, should be subtracted from $S5, which is nothing but which holds the value of F, and the destination should be placed in E, which has been assigned $S4 register. So we need to break the code into 2 parts. So likewise, if you break the code into 2 parts, the complexity of the hardware surely increases. Hope you understand this concept. Let us move on to the next one. So operands must be in registers. Only 32 registers are provided, which require 5 bits to select one register. Reason for the small number of registers is that the design principle 2. This underlies the design principle 2, the smaller is faster. Why? If the memory is very large, then the electronic signals need to travel farther in order to fetch the data. So it requires the increasing clock cycle time. So we think that the smaller will be faster. We assume that smaller is faster, and we always know that smaller is always cheaper. So more programs have more variables, but in computer we can't have this more variables because they are restricted with a particular number of registers. For example, MIPS has only 32 registers. So we can't have more register than this. We are allocated with only 32 registers, but programs can have more variables than these registers. So what can we do? We should place these data or some array of data in memory. So how can we fetch this data or the register data or from the memory spaces? That we need to use some instructions like data transfer instructions. So the load and store operations comes under the data transfer instruction, and the process of putting the less commonly used variables into memory. Sometimes the computer keeps the variable that we are using frequently in the registers and the variables that we are using less in the memory. So we need to fetch the variable from the memory, the variables that are being less used from the memory, and this concept is called the spilling of registers. Okay, so MEPS is nothing but a load store architecture. It has registers, and it has memory, and it has the input output operations that is performed in the memory. Input output operations or the arithmetic operations are generally performed only in the registers in MEPS. So we cannot perform this arithmetic operations in memory. So in order to fetch the data, the registers must always access the memory in order to fetch an array of data, or some data may be kept in memory space because the data may be rarely used inside the program. So in order to do that, there should be some connection between these two memories and this arithmetic operation. So that's all for this now. Let us see the remaining in the next lecture. Thank you.